Alright guys, welcome to a new video. Today we are reviewing Chris, our boy Chris, his first shot at 50 zoom. So it's alright, you don't need to wave, you're not on camera yet. I just see him waving in the corner. So I did this video, this is just going to be live, it's going to be unedited basically. So the reason I wanted to do this is so most of the time when I edit the cash game review sessions, there's mainly only big hands, there's no small pre-flop spots, stuff like that, because I edit those out because they're a bit boring and it normally takes like 2 hours. So I got Chris to send a 30-minute clip, so I'm kind of hoping that we can do this in about an hour, just under, and then there'll be some of the smaller spots that aren't always covered in the bigger videos. So hopefully I've got a layout here that's going to work, and hopefully you'll be able to hear Chris. So say hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris. So the audio might be slightly out of sync with Chris's lovely face, but we're just going to have to deal with that because kind of a nightmare to actually get this set up just to record and everything. So we're just gonna see how it goes. So hopefully it's not too bad. But Chris, how are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. How are you?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah, how's your 50 Zoom sessions been going so far?
It was quite stressful. So like I took the shot. I got to like $2,000 in my stars account, and I was like, right, I'm gonna take a 4 buy-in shot. And I was down 4 buy-ins, but it was just like coolers. It was just like kings versus aces or whatever. So I was like, all right, I'll blast off another couple buy-ins, see how it goes. So then I was down 6, won 6 back, lost another 6, ended up like +1 overall over like 15,000 hands. So it was fine, but I didn't feel that confident the whole time.
Okay. Just out of interest, so how much, if you've got up to around 2K in your account, how much did you start with? Like, have you just built that up from the micros?
Yeah, so I put like $100 in last March when lockdown started, because like previously I was just like punting on stars, and I was like, right, I'm gonna bankroll build, and kind of did like 2NL and upwards. So I got it to like 2,100 at the minute, which I'm kind of proud of, I guess.
Definitely. Well, there you go, guys. So you can just deposit small and basically build your way up. You don't have to. Like, I never bothered with that when I started playing cash. I was mainly playing MTTs, but when I started the bankroll challenge doing cash, I think I deposited 1,000 and just started at 25 NL because I couldn't really be bothered with the micros. But that's not bad. So that's in what, basically a year, and you've already got to 50.
Yeah, just over. It was weird. Like I don't feel like I was beating 10NL, but then the rake was so high and I was break even. I was like, kind of just skipped it after a while and went to 25 and beat that.
Fair enough. I think if you are at 10NL, it's going to be a bit of a slog. I don't think the rake makes it unbeatable. I just think it makes it like quite slow and annoying, especially when the next stake is like 2.5x the stake as well. So like you need more buy-ins. For example, like 25 to 50, you just need twice as much. If you're doing bankroll management for like 50 buy-ins, because 25 NL is, a buy-in is 2.5 times a buy-in at 10 NL, it's just going to take you longer, sort of thing. So if you have the option, guys, anyone watching this video, I would probably suggest, if you can, just skip 10NL if you're happy to, potentially redeposit or something as you're moving up. But
absolutely.
But yeah. So
it was quite a good learning curve though to like play it naturally from the start, because like compared to last year, I'm like 20 times better. Like it's been incredible for my game. Lockdown was a little bit of a blessing in disguise, really.
Yeah, I'm the same, to be fair. Like at the start of lockdown, the games were getting really, really soft, and I profited pretty well during the start of lockdown. So yeah, it's been like a bit of a blessing to me to some extent. Now I can't fucking win anything, but we'll see. So you said that you're not feeling that confident about it, but are you going to carry on playing it, or are you just going back down to 25?
I might play a couple thousand hands at 25, see how they go, just like get back into feeling confident and like take a shot again.
Yeah, fair enough. I think that's something that's not really mentioned when people always ask, "Oh, how many buy-ins do I need to take a shot or whatever?" And it's like, I think confidence is something that if you're nervous as well, like especially when I moved up to 200, even now a little bit going on a downswing, I'm kind of nervous playing at those stakes just because the stakes are higher, and it can be quite knocking when you don't win when you're used to just crushing at 25 and you question your own game. Doesn't matter how good you are, what stakes you play, everyone, when they're downswinging especially, will question their own game. Like, I'm thinking, like, am I a fish? And then I look over the hands and like, no, everyone else is a fish. I'm the greatest player in the world. But I still have that feeling, like, if I'm very good on it. Anyway,
You remind me of like a Principal Skinner, where it's like, am I wrong? No, the
no,
kids are
the kids
wrong.
are wrong. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But you know, this is why these videos, like for other people, are good. It's even good for me as well because I can reiterate my own knowledge and stuff. So you know, I'll be like, I might see an open or something or a spot, and I'm like, actually, what would you do in that spot? And then sometimes I'll go in and solve it and stuff like that and use a solver. So anyway, enough shit chatting.
As well to, like,
Let's
when you're
go.
playing.
Are
Yeah,
you
yeah,
ready?
go for it. Let's do it.
So I believe you've got a punt in here. So you say
There's a big punt in the middle,
big punt.
and then like an array of smaller punts, I guess, scattered throughout.
Okay. So it's
I
been a
reviewed this one at like 10x speed just to make sure there's some hands, and I think there is. So
okay. So it's been a while since I've reviewed a session of yours. So how do you feel about pre-flop and stuff? Do you still study or do you think you're okay pre-flop? Because I
feel pretty
think
solid.
King
I think
six
that's
yeah
like the
versus
one thing I've got down.
versus a 2.5x. All right, we can defend that. So I should have got this up before, but let me just get up some pre-flop
So
Bible ting. Do you use any
my
other
ranges on the
ranges?
side. Yeah, I've got. I think these are Peter Clark's ranges.
Okay. I think they actually work quite well in game. The Peter
Yeah,
Clark
I'm
ones.
pretty sure.
Just I
Is
think
this big
that's
blind versus button?
no, it's versus small. It's blind and blind. Big blind defense versus small
So
blind.
I've got king six off as like 40% raise, 60% fold. You got pure call.
What versus small blind?
Yeah,
You're folding sometimes.
like 50, 60% looking at this, and then the rest is a raise.
Is in a three bet.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So this has got it as pure. Well, mix between three bet or call. I think versus a 2.5x, I'm always calling, at least. Again, ranges are going to differ, but I just think that getting a reasonably good price with this hand, I actually like three betting this hand. I would probably just go for a three bet, but again, you're looking at different ranges, and this isn't exactly going to be a huge EV hand anyway. And again, at lower
Yeah,
stakes, we probably want to defend a bit less. So I guess I don't hate it, but I'm probably
I
continuing.
think a lot of the time when I'm two-table as well, it's just like king six off, there, fold.
Yeah, I get you. But all right, let's see some punts.
Fives.
Fives we can open. I like that open. I think that's pretty standard. Same with the queen six suited. Just out of interest, if you get up ranges, what percentage, if it says, are you raising small blind versus big blind? Just out of interest.
Doesn't say a percentage, but I'll see if I can just eyeball it.
Doesn't matter. So fives, we go
Um,
for the check on the flop. I don't hate it. I don't hate c-betting. He's going to connect a reasonable amount with this board with like gutters and shit. Fives I'm not really loving, so I don't hate the check back. And he bets on the turn, and I think calling is pretty standard. The ace 10 we c-bet, which I think we can c-bet a lot. And then river, we just have kind of a side fold. Well, a very easy fold versus that. At least he didn't fucking raise or something like that. Dude, get way out of line. Oh, I've got the
the
five of
thought
clubs.
has crossed my mind. It's always tempting.
Queen Jack, I think I like the fold. I've seen some ranges that say we can three bet that, but I'm just definitely not doing it. So Ace Queen here.
This guy's getting four bet all the time.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't, again, don't worry about starts. This guy's only got 38 hands. Don't worry about that. But I'm probably pure four betting this.
Yeah, just like ace queen is like the best four betting candidate right out of position.
Yeah, I think so. So I pretty much pure four bet. It's gonna, well, opponent dependent. If I'm against a guy I've got 1K hands on and he's never three bet in his life, I'll just muck it.
Yeah.
Again, different ranges say different things. I'm sure that I've seen some say that we're calling or four betting. I just think it works really well as a four bet. I really don't like calling this hand out of position, so I really like it as a four bet, to be honest.
I think I just like four bet 100% ace queen off out of position.
Yeah, I'm probably the same, to be honest, unless they're
Like,
the super knit or whatever. The size of him is okay, maybe a little bit chunky, a little bit over 3x, but I think it's okay. I don't think it's a mistake. Seems all right so far. So far, so good, Chris. No punts. Reasonable flop on the left.
There you go. So like this guy donks. You see so much of this as well. Like low stakes is like min donking. Often I feel like they show up with like middle pair or a flush draw, but I can just never put them on a range.
Yeah,
It's always so different.
I basically treat it as a check. So like, if I was going to check back, I would just call or fold depending on how really bad my hand is. If I was going to bet this board, I would raise, basically. That's kind of the way I look at it, especially in bigger pots, like in 3-bet pots when somebody min donks. I'll just treat it as a check, like when the pot's so big. So I basically just see this as a check, and if I'm going to bet this board with Queen 10, which you better believe I am, I'm just going to raise. And honestly, like against this guy's obviously a fun player, I'm probably just going fucking huge. Good thing about having Queen 10, obviously it's a nuts, but we obviously unblock all of the pairs and 2 pairs. So like when we have pocket kings, first of all, he can have a better hand, but we also block a lot of the range that we're targeting. When we have Queen 10, we completely unblock that. So against a fun player, I'm just trying to get in as much fucking money as I can. So even if you
Yeah,
went something like 7 here, like I wouldn't hate it against a fun player. Because I think they're going to be quite inelastic to sizing, right? If he's got a hand like King 10 or like 9x of hearts, he's going to call 5 big blinds. He's going to call 7 or 8 big blinds. So I think we
yeah,
just
true.
want to really just pound it. But as long as you're raising now, like it's fine. As long as we're not, folding. Min donk fold. Well, all right. The best I know, but what's the pink tag? Is that reggae or?
That's like aggro. It's not always reg. It's just like generally people with like a high 3-bet or check raise post flop.
Okay.
My tags aren't like they're not hugely specific or anything.
Yeah. Okay.
But I tend to put quite detailed notes that I then don't have time to read.
King Jack suited here. I think 4-betting's fine. I think calling's fine. So do you ever 4-bet this hand, like in these positions?
Yeah, sometimes I think that's what I was thinking of here. I'm like checking stats and stuff, but yeah, as you say, works fine either way, right?
Yeah, I think I've started 4-betting a lot more with it. Again, it depends on the opponent. If I think they're going to flat a lot in position, I don't hate 4-betting. If I think they're just going to jam a lot, like if they're quite fishy. Because in these positions, he should be calling quite wide versus 4-bets. That's the thing. So if they're calling, we still have a playable hand and we take the lead and we can get a reasonable amount of folds on this board. Whereas when we look at this board, we basically just have to check fold. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
found
think I just
myself like more inclined to 4-bet the offsuit combos rather than the suited stuff.
Yeah, well, I was saying something about that in a video, but it's kind of weird because if they are calling a reasonable amount, then it's kind of a trash hand to go, post flop with something like King Jack off. But because I don't think
Yeah,
enough people at these stakes and lower are calling, I don't hate 4-betting King Jack off just for its blocking properties. If you think they're never going to peel to 4-bets, I think actually having a stat that says how often they peel to 4-bets. So I've
yeah,
just
I've got
got
that as
one.
FV 4-bet, like the fourth stat in on the top.
But that's just fold to 4-bet, isn't it?
Yeah,
It doesn't say how often they peel.
yeah, true.
Because they could jam or peel to it. So I think actually having maybe flat versus 4-bet is kind of useful. Maybe if you
Yeah,
delve into it and you actually click on the thing and it brings up more stats. But yeah, I think I missed on that King 10. I assume you just c-bet on the king I board. It
yeah, it
seems
should have.
pretty standard. So do you like deviate at all? Yeah, with like open ranges and stuff. Like you opening
Yeah,
wide
like
versus
if
fish.
it's pretty aggro behind me, I'll open tighter, and if there's fish, I'm just gonna open wider and like player dependent.
No worries. Queen 10 suited here. I'm really not a fan of Queen 10 suited.
Yeah, it's kind of gross, but then like going tagged as a fun player,
I feel as though there's almost
pretty
more
far away.
reason to fold if he's a fun player because he's probably 3-betting tighter.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we've only got a small sample on him,
Yeah.
11%.
I mean, in these
But
positions, I think it's fine. Like 3-bet
like
calling.
I'm absolutely fine folding here. Like I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, I really wouldn't hate folding, especially when he's not playing a full start.
Now we fold.
But yeah, I think I'd actually prefer a fold, to be honest. I really just don't like it. Even though I think from a theory point of view we should be calling, but it's what it is, I guess. But it's not like I think either is fine. It's just why I'm gonna prefer. Like you've definitely come a long way since we first started reviewing it at like 10 and L. So like I don't think that. I mean, I want to know what happens with this king queen suited, but I was gonna say I don't think that you're gonna be like massively punting, but
I mean, like the king queen suited later. There's like it's a hand where I'm like, oh, I think you're bluffing, and I've got equity, but he wasn't, and I didn't.
Okay. All right. It's just you
But it was
leveling yourself, basically.
yeah, I absolutely level myself
Okay. Was that a fold with 6-7 suited?
versus under the gun open.
Do your ranges say fold?
Well, I don't really do any cold calling. prefer to just 3-bet or fold unless there's like fish in the hand and I'm set mining or something.
Okay, I don't hate it, but again, so the bluff the spot ranges, we have basically a call range on the button versus the earlier two positions under the gun and middle position. It actually uses this hand as a pure 3-bet versus under the gun. I think either's
Okay.
fine. I don't know what to
hate
say,
that.
man, but it's 6-7. Just look at it. It's so pretty.
It is cute. It's a nice hand.
I'm
I did
probably
like sorry, go on.
I'm always continuing this one way or another. I think if these guys aren't 3-betting a lot and they're not regs, I think I'm just always calling. If I think that, these guys are particularly reggy and might like a squeeze, I'm probably just 3-betting. Folding is just the least thing that I'm doing. And maybe there is argument, at higher rake structures at these lower stakes, especially lower than 50. But I'm just not folding it. It's too pretty. You fucking.
I checked my like stats a while back and looked at like my suited connectors, and I was losing money with most of them. To be fair,
Over how many hands though?
it was quite a large sample, but then it was like previous prior to me doing a lot of study and stuff. So I don't know if that's because I was playing them a lot more passively or playing them out of position or something. But then I like kind of just used that as a reason to fall out of love with suited connectors. You know what I mean?
To be honest, I've definitely been losing recently with suited connectors. Like, I think that I overplay them or just overcall with them. So I'm trying to cut it out a little bit. But I think it's just variance. I think I've just run really bad in terms of how often I've just completely aired the flop or the turn or whatever. I've just flopped absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Right, kings we 4-bet, which I think is okay. So I always say in these positions, you really don't see enough 3-bet bluffs from like these positions, from the big blind versus the earlier positions. So I do expect this to be strong. Against certain opponents, I don't hate flatting the 3-bet just because, probably not versus that size. If your 3-bet's bigger, I might flat, but just because I think they're going to fold so much to 4-bets and I want to keep them in. Like, I don't think they'll peel hands like 10s and jacks. I think that some opponents will just fold versus a 4-bet.
I don't know. I still feel like low stakes players are going to be pretty like, oh, I've got 10s, I've got jacks, I'm not folding.
Yeah, I mean, possibly. Again, it's going to, depend on your opponent sort of thing. So, but I think 4-betting is generally what we should be doing, by the way. It is pure for, pretty much any range is going to be pure 4-bet. I just don't hate from a sort of exploitative point of view. This flop sucks balls, obviously. I honestly don't even know what to do. Our hand
it's weird because like
check. I guess our range wants to bet.
Like versus a fun player, what's their range when they call a 4-bet out of position? Like
it could be a lot of shit though.
Jacks, queens, ace X. It's not going to be like 9s or 8s very much.
It could be. It's unlikely, but honest to God, I really just don't know what to do on the spot without a diamond. The problem is, it's like we're kind of just. I mean, we're never really going to check aces, queens. Maybe we check ace king, I guess. That's to sort of balance it. I don't think it matters all that much against fun players, but the problem is we can just. I guess he's not going to barrel that much. I guess checking is just okay, especially against fun players. I like this bet on the right, by the way. This board we want to be pretty careful on in general versus the big blind, so we're not going to have all that many bets. We're going to be doing a reasonable amount of checking. I think this hand makes a pretty good bet. So when we're doing a more checking than betting, or when we're doing, when we're not when we're betting less frequently, we want to be choosing a bigger size, and I think in general. So I think this is good. We also block straights. Definitely want to continue here. I wouldn't hate.
Yeah, this guy's aggro as fuck.
I wouldn't.
This guy's so aggro.
I wouldn't hate a 4-bet against like a really aggro player. I really wouldn't hate a 4-bet.
Like I think like this guy's check raising 20%, and like I think this was quite early on with me playing 50 an hour. Now I've played a lot more hands with him. I would definitely weight him to a lot more bluffs. Like he's attacking a lot of low boards like this where I shouldn't really hit it that much. Yeah. So
I mean, it's kind of different because we're on the button, so we still have all the sets and we have 4-5 suited. So we actually do have. He's got more like pairs and like. I guess he didn't even have that many 2 pairs, so it's not like it's obviously good for the big blind, but I think that aggressive players are definitely going to check raise hands like maybe even like 8-9 suited and stuff. With overs in the back doors. So I wouldn't hate 3-betting this, but I think as long as we continue, it's fine. I think calling in position is definitely fine. We can have the best hand with ace high as well. The problem is, when it comes like whatever it comes on the turn, the queen of clubs or whatever, it's just really hard to continue. Although he should be checking.
Yeah, I mean, and then like I'm probably gonna bet because this is incredible for our range. Like if no, I'm not. But like if he's check raised 6-7 or something for protection, then like we can just fold so much of that out on the queen, right?
Yeah. Okay,
There you
so
go.
that's fucking his raise is way too loose. Without the backdoor straight draw, it's just a button click. Um, that's just it's just way out of line. Especially if you're not c betting that board always, which you're not. The turn I think we can bet. It's kind of just such a brick that our range is strong. Like we have more queen X than he does. We have more good hands. We've called a 3-bet here. It's kind of awkward because with a hand like ace five, it's not really strong enough in a way to check back. Like it's kind of, I guess it's kind of
Yeah,
in the middle of like the range in terms of what we want to bluff and what we actually have as showdown slash value. Like if we have something like ace king of spades, I think we have like an auto check back because we have the best
so
hand
loads
so
of
often and we don't need that much protection. Here, I don't hate just betting, even a small size, and just taking it down because it's such a brick. He just has to fold a lot. But I guess checking is okay. The problem is as well because even when we have the best hand, he could just fire the river, and like an eight isn't a bad card for him. He could just bet small on this river and have a hand like cause he had 7-9 of clubs, so he could have like I said 8-9 of spades or something like that, and then he just gets there, and we can't really call with on a lot of rivers. So I wouldn't hate betting
yeah.
the turn with it being a better card for us, and we can probably go small. I could imagine we could just go small with quite a lot of our range, even hands like sevens that want protection, and
Yeah.
definitely hands like 4-5 suited and stuff that we're happy to put money in, but we want to balance our range. So yeah, I think betting might be better, but checking's not terrible. We draw a full house on the river with the kings.
Yeah, is this guy just going to show up with a royal?
I ran kings. I ran into a royal on a similar board like this.
It's weird because like we've checked twice and he hasn't donked, so it's like, what do we get called by? But also, obviously, we've got value bet. It's just what size we go. I like. Should I go small here and get called by
I guess go
the jack
smaller.
of clubs?
Again, 4-bet pots are always a weird spot. I don't think they really solve that much, but because of what we're trying to target, like I'd probably go a lot smaller. Like think about what you can actually have in a 4-bet pot here. Like
Yeah,
jacks maybe, but then jacks is like most like we lose to some jacks. And
yeah.
is he really going to call jacks without a diamond here? It's kind of a weird one because we don't really have the jack of diamonds ever. So I'm probably just
Maybe
betting
he's got
really small.
tens and he's kind of knitting it up on the turn.
I don't know.
Queen 10. No, probably not in a 4-bit pot.
I guess he just has like jacks here. This is a really weird one because I don't know what ranges should look like in these spots. I don't know what he should peel a 4-bet with.
Yeah. I think I just went with my default, which was just
I
like
guess he had
big hand,
jacks
bet big.
without a diamond, surely. Fucking.
Fair play.
I mean, that's better than jacks without a diamond in terms of actually calling on the river, but also, what the fuck's he doing?
Yeah, there's right little note there. I remember this now.
Okay, but this is what I said. You were saying like, oh yeah, well, he's not just gonna have eights or nines, is he? And it's like, well, you don't know that. Fun players literally
That's
just
true.
like I've seen fun players show up with fucking a6 offsuit and stuff like that.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
you never really know. Anyway, nice hand. Like the thing is, I don't really like the big bet because I can't imagine him having any flushes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe something like 6, 7, 7, 8 of diamonds, but can you imagine a fun player peeling a 4-bet with that and then just checking the flop and turn? It seems too
Not so.
unlikely. So
That's just gonna get donked. I know that was a weird one. Like you'd expect him to donk a lot of turns.
yeah, again, it's one of them where it's like it's a weird pot because it's a 4-bet pot, for early position versus big blind. So those spots they come up so infrequently. Like you don't 4-bet and get peeled all that often, and then get a board that where you have a boat and it's 4 to a flush. So I don't think those. It's hard to gauge what you should do in that spot, and honestly, it doesn't really matter because it's not going to happen a lot. Ace queen with 3-bet, and no, we put this in the bin, Chris.
Yeah, we're folding. We're folding.
I hope so. You didn't want to though, did you?
Yeah, well, you want to see it come up as like 4-bet plus 6, 7 suited, so you can just be like, I'm jamming this in your face because you're 4-betting nonsense, but then it never does.
Yeah, I just mock it. So you right hold, do you?
Yeah, I've been like rat holding at 140 big blinds to try and reduce variance.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I actually have started doing it a bit myself at 150 bigs. I love playing 200 big blinds deep plus. I like playing 100 big blinds. I fucking hate playing 150 big blinds. And
Yeah, I feel like the pre-flop strategy I've learned has just got so much like I bet jamming involved that I'd struggle to learn a 200 big blind strategy. Like I feel like the pre-flop strategy I'm employing is winning.
okay,
So I guess I'm more comfortable 100 big blinds deep as well. It's like trying to reduce variance.
yeah, I definitely am. And more so the fact that like I really like playing deep because is this the king queen suited pawn? Let's have a look. This
Could
board
well
on the
be.
left, it kind of sucks. Like against a fun player, I guess we're just check calling. Like from a theory point of
Uh,
view, it's a board we want to check on a lot, obviously. Again, against fun players, I don't hate just betting. I don't mind going for a big bet on this board with fours. I actually think it's okay.
this looks like the kind of board I'm about to check raise with this combo.
I don't
Like
like it
I
without a spade. If you have fours
versus
with a
cold
four of
callers.
spades, fuck it, go for it. Just because, just having a spade, first of all, reduces combos of spades he can continue with. It, reduces outs when he has spades, and we have a backdoor flush draw, so we have an extra few percent against anything that's already ahead of us. So even though it's,
Is like my thinking with so I do a lot of check raising versus cold callers out of position.
I think you should, yeah.
Just because like these guys stab so often. So I guess I didn't do it here, but like I wouldn't mind it in this scenario. Because like if this guy's just like cold king jack off or like ace nine off or pocket like nines or something, we can just get so much of that to fold.
Yeah.
We hero?
I'm probably calling. Okay, so the king queen suited here. It's weird where he bets pot. I don't know if I even like calling. I'm probably just running it. So let's talk about the fours. I wouldn't hate a check raise. I wouldn't mind it if we had the four of spades. I get your logic, by the way. But this is why I don't mind just going for a big size with this hand on the flop to try and target some of those like king jacks. If we use a small size, we'll
Yeah.
get floated by nonsense. I understand your
So it's
logic
like
there.
like with the check raising, it's like I see what you're saying with the big bet. We could just fold out loads and take it down. But my thinking is if we let them stab first, we win a little bit extra when they're bluffing.
I get you. Yeah. That's like
If you
saying,
lose more,
if you've got like a bluff on a river and you're thinking of bluffing, but you think, no, I'll check raise jam because they're gonna bluff and then I can rebluff. Like, I get your point, definitely. It kind of makes sense. If you think they're gonna stab a lot, I don't hate it. Like I say, I just much prefer it with a spade. To be honest. But I'm probably calling the river with his size in because I'd expect a 7 to bet bigger. When we lose, I'd expect to lose to like pocket nines exclusively.
yeah.
But I'm probably check calling, especially without a spade. So this king queen, honestly, I don't hate just jamming. I really don't know what to do versus pot. But I don't like calling because we just have to fold any turn. And we have just reasonable equity against jacks and tens, especially blocking kings and queens. The real disaster would be if he has, I guess, aces with the ace of diamonds or like ace jack of diamonds.
Yeah.
Other
That's what I
than
was
that,
thinking here. It's like
he should
we
probably,
flop so much equity in a board that's so terrible for him.
yeah, he should check
What's
range
going
on this
on?
board. I think. I would imagine. I honestly don't hate just jamming. Just because you've got a little bit of fold equity. It's not a lot because he's bet pot. So I can't imagine he's going to fold a lot. But I'm so happy to run it against nines, tens, jacks. Less happy against aces and something like ace jack suited.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Again, one of them
I
kind
feel
of
like
tough
when
spots.
I just feel like when I jam, like you can see me thinking about it, but when I jam, it feels like I just get him to play perfectly to some extent. I mean, I guess we would probably fold out better.
I get it. What are you doing with like... Are we just peeling sevens and eights then?
Yeah, I mean, versus an aggressive opponent, like I feel like he's gonna if he pots the flop, he's not checking back a lot of turns. I wouldn't think. So I'd rather give him some rope
Agreed,
when I
but
know let him
it needs
go
protection in the
crazy.
way that, if it comes to six of diamonds, not that we're gonna have the worst handle like that's irrelevant, but if it comes to six of diamonds, it's very difficult to get value from aces with no diamond then. Do you see what I mean? So
Yeah, it's like like I'm always debating that. It's like, do I let them continue bluffing and I'll call in position, or do I raise now to get value from their like aces that they're not going to fold on the flop but might fold?
yeah.
Yeah, as you say, when it rolls off the six diamonds.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
you're always in a dilemma in them spots. I guess it's just gonna come down to opponent, like,
yeah, I was going to say like versus a fish,
yeah,
I'd probably raise sets here
yeah, for sure.
versus an aggro reg, probably calling a lot more because they're going to have more double barrels.
I don't know if I don't know what if he can bet like on this flop. Like I guess that he's gonna want some bets. Like I know we're gonna do a lot of checking, but maybe we can bet some stuff. And when we do bet, we probably want to pick a live size. So I don't know. It's a really weird one. The
This guy is
fours.
called I3 barrel.
Say again.
This guy is called I3 barrel.
All right. Okay. Well, that's good.
True to his name.
Yeah, the fours. I think. What do you expect to see when you lose with fours if you call?
Honestly, no idea. Maybe just some like 6x or something. Like when they check bet, like I'd expect him to double barrel his flush draws. Maybe like 8-9. He's tried to slow play or something.
I get you,
I've
but
honestly no idea.
I feel as though a lot of those hands bet bigger. This kind of seems more value-y in a way that it seems like a hand like eights or nines, but I think that's it. I don't know. I guess it's kind of close, but again, we're getting nearly 3-1. So I'm
Yeah.
probably just calling against a fish because the old school way of fish playing bet check bat was just like always a bluff. It was like such a fishy line bet check bat from fish. I used to just print money on
Like
PKR
I,
from that.
I feel like I run into it being value a lot more now.
Possibly. Again, it depends on your opponent. Against tighter players, for sure, because they don't really have that many bluffs on rivers. But against just your standard fish, it's like they bet the flop because they want to take it down, check on the turn because, they've got nothing, and then just, shit, I'm going to bet the river. I think you could probably go either way. I guess we have better hands, but the problem is I think we're going to be doing a lot of betting on the river. Like, if we check call aces, for example, we're probably betting aces on the river, right? Or would you check? So, I don't know. I think you can probably go either way. So the king queen again, I don't really know. You've got some fun spots in this one. They are quite tough. I think I just prefer jamming the flop. I don't know if that's good, but because we've got a little bit of fold equity, and then I'm just jamming sets as well. But again, is this the
There we
punt?
go.
Are you gonna call off here?
Yeah. My thinking here is like, what does he do this with for value? Like,
You're behind
should he
to
be
bluffs, man.
playing?
You can have
Like, should he be 2x aces?
ace jack of diamonds. You can have fucking ace queen, ace jack, ace ten of clubs. You could have 9-10 of clubs that you're ahead of. This is no. If you're gonna do this, why don't you just fucking jam the flop? Because we have fold equity as well.
I have no idea. I just felt like it feels so bluff heavy on the turn when you overbet jams. Like it doesn't feel like a value bet at all. Because
Chris,
like with the SPR, if he wanted to like bet 30 here, he's got an easy river jam.
Chris,
If he wanted to,
you've got fucking king high. It doesn't matter if he's bluffing. You don't have a hand. Like,
spice it up, flush draw.
you can't just fucking put him on 9-10 suited and just call, like, or 10 jack suited. I swear to God, if he's got 10 jack of clubs now and you win with king high and you look like a hero, like.
I hope I at least empty the time bank.
Just jam flop. Fold equity is massively important in poker because you basically win 100% of the time when they fold. So you win the pot every single time when they do fold. So just calling this is bad. Do you know, if we've got like ace king of diamonds, if we flat for whatever reason, by all means call because we have the best hand. We block aces and kings.
Right.
And so he's more likely to have queens, jacks, tens, and we have overs against that. And we have the best hand. We can beat hands like ace queen of diamonds or like queen jack of ace queen of clubs or like queen jack of diamonds. This is why I prefer jamming the flop. The worst thing you could have done if you're gonna flat the flop is to call this turn. That's the problem as well. That when they blast here on the flop, that like you said a minute ago, like if you've got a set, they're probably not gonna check a lot of turns. Meaning that calling's not really good. I actually don't like calling because if we don't drill a king, queen, or diamond, we have to fold. And I think you know that, but you just decided, nah, fuck it, let's just call anyway. Maybe he's bluffing when we've got king high. I hope he is bluffing. I hope he's got fucking ace jack of clubs and he wins.
Don't wish this on me. Oh, he's got something like that. I remember.
It's an overbet jam, man. Just get rid of it. Let's see what happens. Fucking.
All right, at least we're going in the time bank here. At least I didn't like snap it off.
I'd rather you snap it off because at least then you'd have the plan on the flop and you'd know what you're doing on the turn. Hey, you're just like you're not getting the right price against his range. I could get up PokerStars or some sort of. No, just no.
It was a little FTO. I was like, I feel like he's got fuck all. I guess that is the thing with calling bluffs, though, is you do need a bluff catcher. There's the thing, right? I wasn't far off. He did have fuck all.
and he still had a better hand than you. Like, think about it. Think about this, Chris. Right, first of all, you win the pot if you jam the flop, we assume.
Yeah.
Maybe he calls. He's got the ace of diamonds, so no, he can't call. If he had like ace king with the king of diamonds, he could actually bet call this flop or something similar because he unblocks the nut flush draw that jams. So if he had ace king with the king of diamonds, he could actually bet call this flop. Like, it's actually okay, given the equity that you've got and that you're ahead sometimes.
Yeah.
With the ace of diamonds, it's absolutely trash. I don't know what he's doing with that. Changes tag to some absolute sick whale. But this is your problem, Chris. You've just called an overbet jam against a guy that's got fucking ace high. You don't beat ace high. You have, look at it, you've got 25% against a bluff. Like, think about how bad that is. What if he's got aces? What if he's got fucking pocket eights?
We don't do well.
Agreed, we don't do
Yeah,
well.
this is a weird one. Like,
This is one of your best case scenarios, and we're gonna win the hand 1 in 4.
I don't think I'm doing this a lot.
Alright, yeah, this was punty. I'm glad I've got
It's
to
fine,
shout at
though.
you. It's been a while.
We hit it.
Yeah, nice. The funniest is when you run it twice and when you drill the queen first, it's well nice because it's like, oh, it's not even a diamond. I've still got diamonds. If you'd have won this twice, I would have been fuming. Yeah, that was just unnecessary. Just jam the flop.
There's so many hands where I'm like, oh, this fish just did something so stupid and like sucks out, and that's me here.
And that fish is you, basically.
When it happens to me, I deserve it.
If you say so. Jack 9, I like the open, and I think folding versus a 3-bet is, yeah, absolutely standard. It's quite a large 3-bet as well, so I think we just have to fold there.
That's small sample, but 13-7.
But yeah, I think you still do this sort of leveling thing where you're like, I don't believe this guy or whatever, and I do think that that trying to exploit is good, that it's going to make you, if anything, the most money. But you can't just be doing it just willy-nilly and being like, oh, I don't believe him, I'm going to call king high. That's what you just done, Chris. It's like, that's not a fucking thing. Oh, well.
This is why I bring up a little note sometimes that says stuff like, if they raise river, they've got it. Because so often I level myself into thinking like, I'd have bluffs here, so they can have bluffs here. And then I call and it's the nuts, and I'm like, pull our nits. They don't have bluffs here. They're not bluffing as much as I am.
Agreed, they're probably not bluffing as much as you are, but just because you've seen them show down, you basically do what I do, which is a really bad practice. And what I do is when somebody like triples and they just have it, I tag them as a nit. But the thing is, like, they might have bluffs as well. They might have just had it in that scenario. Like, was this recent, by the way, this video?
Yeah, this was like last week or so.
Yeah. Just I played a lot with Dutch King Lager, who's on your right hand table at 100, and he seems really solid, to be fair. So I don't know why he's dropped down.
Oh yeah, I ran into this guy quite a bit. He was annoying to play against.
Yeah, he put me in some spots. He was quite solid. Really like checking this board, by the way, and I know what you're doing. There's no way in hell you're gonna check call.
Look at it. Look, how can I not?
I agree here. I don't know what we should do. I think maybe a hand like ace 10 of hearts is better to check call because we have so much showdown. Here, I don't know. We just got so much fucking equity. Let's just put loads of money in. Like,
I'm so happy to pilot it.
So happy to pilot in.
And like that's like this hands like this specifically come up so often for me, and I get like an extra 2 bigs instead of just c-betting and him folding.
He may well call though, so because I think that if they're gonna stab, they might just call 1 versus a small bet, and then you might be able to get more on the turn. Again, I see your logic and what you're saying, but I don't think it's necessarily true that you get 2 big blinds more. It's not like he's instantly gonna not put 2 big blinds in. Like, he could have a hand like 7s and still call a bet. Like, I've seen people call a bet, but obviously they can't call a raise really. Like, but I get your logic anyway. It's not.
It does like apply pressure a little bit more as well. I'd also say.
Yeah. And that's a board that you want to do a lot of checking on anyway. Out of position, we do want to do a lot more checking from a theory point of view. So I am happy to see. Like, I don't do enough checking, I don't think, out of position. I think I just start slamming boards a lot.
I think maybe my thing is I just hate pressing the call bone when I'm out of position. It just always feels horrible.
Okay. I get you. And this is what I've talked about. So this Queen 8 suited, I like the ISO. Maybe a bit big, but maybe it just works more and we get to...
Yeah, I just standard like 5 bigs versus limps. It seems to...
I don't know, yeah. I'd be going 4, but, you know, I think 5 is probably Probably okay. King 9 suited, yeah. I like the open. 8-4 suited, yeah. I think I'm fine folding. Yeah, pre-flop seems pretty standard. You know, we talked about a couple of little spots, but you know, again, it's just going to depend on your ranges and depends on what stakes you play. As long as you're not like well out of whack, I think it's going to be completely fine. Like as long as you're not defending 7-3 off, for example, I think
Yeah, I
it's
feel confident pre-flop. I did notice, and I don't know if this was just me like confirmation biasing it. I feel like I was getting 3-bet so much more at 50 and like 4-bet as well.
I think it's true. The toughest jump for me genuinely was from 25 and L to 50 and L. Maybe that was just where I was playing at the time, GG, because 25 was super soft, 50 had some regs. But I found the biggest jump was between those two stakes. I don't mind betting this for that size that you were going for. I think you sort of almost intuitively want to do it. It's a weird one where it's kind of mergy, but again, this is the kind of hand where we have bad clarity on the river, so we can't call a lot of rivers, so I don't hate just putting in a load of money on the turn. I think your
Yeah,
advantage
it's one of those.
at these
Sorry, go
stakes
on.
and lower, or especially lower, maybe not so much 50, is that you don't get check raise bluffed enough. I've had so many spots where I've looked at other people's hands and somebody might have like a hand like 9-10 of spades and they just check call the flop and then check call the turn. I think that, you know, against your majority of opponents, because you can still get value from worse hands here, and because you have bad clarity on the river, I don't mind betting a large size to A, get called by these hands, but B, make it so we don't really have that many spots on rivers. Because, you know, if there's just so many rivers, it's very difficult to call.
I agree with that. I'm also happy to like bluff catch as well, river, if they've called with hearts or whatever.
Agreed, but then look how many like bad like cards there are. Like you've got basically the best card here anyway, and it's a pot size bet. So now we're in like we're not even loving this. I think that I guess this has to be a call bluff catch wise. Yeah, nice. So something I would note from him is that he pot bet bluffs because you don't actually see that. Not you don't see it often, but there are opponents that will only bet bluff with like that will only bet pot with like strong hands from what I've seen.
Yeah, that's
So I
such
like
an
that.
exploit. It's like they snap donk pot when the flush draw gets there, and it's like, cool, you've got it.
Well,
Thank
maybe
you for
that
letting me know.
they might be balanced. You know, if he's betting pot on that kind of board with
Very
nine
true.
ten, maybe he balances. Maybe he does that with bluffs on flush board rivers as well. Because I've looked at some solver spots. Don't do anything with the ace king. Just get rid of it. Good. I've looked at some solver spots and they actually want to donk when the flush gets there when they have flushes, and so obviously solvers will try and balance, and they shove the most random of hands like they end up shoving like two pairs with a spade and shit as a bluff
Right.
on a river because they don't have that many weak hands by the time they get to the river, like you know in bigger pots, they have to balance it. They you know they have all these random sort of bluffs, but you know donking on like when a bad card for the aggressor gets you know hits on the river, it is actually a thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree, and I like do similar. Like I'll donk my value and donk bluffs when you think they're going to have a lot of checkbacks and you're going to miss value or just lose the pot. But then I think with my value, I'm not just always like pot, pot,
Yeah,
pot, like
yeah,
instant
obviously,
on it.
yeah.
Like
You can
it
generally
feels like
tell when the
whereas like you took 1 second to put in a pot size bet on this like super wet board.
exactly.
I remember I had a hand live where I like rivered the nut flush and checked over to this guy who double barreled and he instantly checked back. And like this whole table of nits were just like, oh, can't believe you didn't donk. You didn't donk. How did you not donk your flush draw? You flush. And it's just like, I guess I learned that lesson. And this guy just like snap checked back a set.
Yeah, to be fair, they're probably right because like people really don't like to fold. So even though you're not actually having many bluffs, they're probably still gonna call you down anyway. Right, let's see what's going on here. So we've overcalled 4-3 suited, which I mean I'm just doing it, but I don't know if it's good.
I feel okay with a hand like this because it's not going to interact with a lot of their
Yeah,
range.
that's solid logic in the way that I definitely prefer this than you know I always talk about hands like ace five off or ace eight off are just complete trash. Like you could never defend
Yeah,
them either
absolutely.
way. Even 10 jack off like stuff like that really aren't that great. This kind of I get your logic. And I'm honestly probably just folding. Heads up, we'd probably want to do something, maybe even check raise. Again, three-way, I always say this, multi-way, people still think they can play like their heads up. I guess against fun players, they're not going to play as they should, so they're probably going to bet too much and stuff. So we do have a reasonable amount of equity, but because he should be a lot tighter with his bluffs and a lot tighter with his value, multi-way, this is just kind of, I think this is just burning money overall. He's not even got a full stack.
Yeah.
No.
I think in this spot, if it was like 8-4 jack with the jack of like hearts or just like not diamonds, I'd snap fold.
Well, yeah, obviously, but like just having the backdoor
Like pick
flush
up.
really isn't that great when you have the 4 high flush draw. If you had ace 4 of diamonds, believe me, I'm all for it because first of all, you can hit an ace and hit 2 pair, which first of all is good because you have 2 pairs. Second of all is good because he can have an ace, meaning you've got implied odds. And then secondly, you've got the backdoor nut flush and you can potentially cooler backdoor flushes. 4-3 suited, you're looking at a fucking the nut low effectively backdoor flush and bottom pair with a 3 kicker. So I don't hate the call pre, but because you're going to get in a lot of these spots, I think that this is just leaking money overall when you call in, especially multi-way. So I think this flop call, even though you're getting an okay price, you know, you've got the backdoor flush draw. If the eights are deuce, I'm much more for it because again we've got backdoor straight draws, so we have even more cards we continue on. But I think this is just leaking money overall. I think it is. King Jack
On the right,
suited, we 3-bet, C-bet. I think it's standard.
happy with the size?
Yeah, relatively. It's kind of nice that it's the 7, that it's rainbow because then there's only, you know, one combo of 7-8 suited. I guess we're just folding against a raise. I don't know how often
Yeah,
we're gonna.
it's just got like 9s and 10s and
So
queens all day.
so are we jamming now? Surprised you didn't call and be like, oh no, this guy's got nothing. Like, you know, we'll just call him
Oh, they
down
do
with
that
king
though in
high.
3-bet pots. Like I make so much money from 3-betting people with aces and then c-betting big on a low board and they just jam 10s because it's an overpair.
Fish gonna fish.
I don't know why they raise their overpairs on low boards like that. Though. It's like, let me have bluffs. Like you're either way ahead or way behind.
Yeah, well, I get it. You know, it's protection. They really don't want to see bad cards and stuff. I understand the sort of logic behind it, but you know, it doesn't really work because they are just forcing out all of your bluffs, basically. They just want to protect it because, again, it comes down to not wanting to be in spots. It's the same as the reason why you don't really like check calling out of position because you don't like not, at least when you're having the aggression, you're putting the pressure on somebody else. When
Yeah.
you are when they're the aggressor, you're the one getting, you know, the pressure put on you effectively. And it's like human
Yeah.
nature to not want to be in that spot, which makes sense intuitively, but if it's higher EV to do something, then this guy looks tight.
Yeah, that's why I flattered. This guy, like, look at his stats.
I mean, 100 hands is not really a lot, but yeah, I'm very much just okay flying here. It's a playable hand as well out of position. Again, like, you know, it's not ideal being out of position, but he's probably going to peel. If he's only 3-betting 3%, again, it's not in enough hands, but if he's only 3-betting this amount, then
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Please don't raise. Just fold. Ah, yeah.
would a raise is better. A raise is better than fucking calling.
Yeah.
Maybe you chop against ace king with a diamond, but like
Surely he's betting it. Yeah.
kind of weird from him. I wouldn't
He
hate
tried
a
to
jam. I
flop.
don't know.
He tried to flop it, right?
So okay, yeah, the call's just trash. Just give it up, man.
Yeah, here.
Raising's probably better. The funny thing is, like, check raising this river would be joke because I got into a spot the other day where I had the nuts on the river and I check jammed the river in a 3-bet pot when I called a 3-bet out of position. And I was trying to think what bluffs I would actually have because I have so few. Because best bluffs here are going to be something that blocks flushes, right? Like the ace of diamonds or the king of diamonds. How could I ever have one of those without having a flush? Maybe ace king offsuit specifically, but I never have ace queen offsuit, ace king offsuit. Sorry, specifically, I never have ace queen off. I never have hands like king queen off. I'm never going to bluff a hand like kings or queens. So like, what would I actually use as a jack jam? I honestly just don't hate just. I mean, maybe he's just got a flush here, but I wouldn't even hate just check jamming this. Just as it looks so punty, but like we can't really have that many like hands where we actually block some good stuff. And let's face it, the worst hand we're ever gonna have here is ace king because we should have folded the turn. So
Versus, like, I see what you're saying. Like in this spot specifically, don't think this guy has any or like many bluffs. Like we think he's a nit. We block things that he's going to be bluffing, right? Ace highs, king highs.
I guess so. I mean, I don't.
But then it's pretty difficult to like find a value hand that checks back flop but bets turn and river, unless he's got specifically tens or jacks or queens with a diamond or something.
Which you'd expect to bet flop. I'm guessing
Yeah.
for value, he just has flushes. Like he can just have like ace king of diamonds, ace queen of diamonds. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
You'd
It's a
think he'd
weird
bet
one.
that as well.
I think just fold turn.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
calling turns, just trash. I don't even think we want to lead turn. I think we just check and just like pray he checks back and we get to realize flop and turn. And when he doesn't, we just give up and we could have some check raises or check calls with flushes and stuff. But yeah, bit of a punty turn call.
I run into this whale on the left who's at the button so often. It's weird as well with 50 being like a bit of a smaller pool. Like you're running into the same players so often.
Yeah.
Like 25 changes so much more.
Yeah, I get you actually. With what's going on here?
Donks.
I wouldn't hate raising because I really don't like calling, and I also don't particularly like folding. So I think I'd start bluffing the 7-8 on the flop. Again, like even though he has pure nonsense, right? Like think about how many turns you have to fold on. Any club would just snap folding. If it's like a queen or a jack or something, we're probably just gonna fold. So even though it doesn't really make sense to bluff because we don't actually want to keep bluffs in on this board, like even no equity bluffs, because our hand is just so it just needs so much protection. So I think just bluffing this is okay because it's a hand where we actually have equity. We can still hit two pairs and potentially trips. Obviously I'd prefer to have like ace queen or something with the ace of clubs where we've got an overcard and no flush draw. But I literally wouldn't hate for it's like a kind of mergy protection bluff raise.
Yeah, it's a weird
wouldn't
spot.
hate
Like when
it.
he donks, I don't know if I'm ahead or behind, or like I have no idea what he's donking. Like
Which is
you
why
get
I
some
don't like
players who would
calling.
donk and not flush, and someone who just like donk the ace of clubs, and some who would donk ace six of spades. Like I think my thinking here was just like I've got some equity, so I'm just gonna call and see what happens.
Again, I don't hate it, but imagine just getting to that river and then just deciding not to. Imagine just donking a6 of spades on that board and then just checking on the river.
Yeah, like if he triple barrels this river, he wins the pot.
Obviously.
I don't get it.
Just
But,
note that.
eh.
Just a lot of people don't triple. That's the thing. All right, ace-3 suited here. Yeah, good that you look at your notes. If you see that they min click a lot, I'm okay with the 4-bet anyway. I'm just okay with
This is the guy from that 7-9 hand who check raised the flop.
Okay.
He seems like a decent reg though, so maybe this is a misclick.
He seems like a decent reg. Fucking planet you on.
Actually, no, not that. What am I saying? What am I saying? No, he doesn't.
First of all, he's fucking min clicked, right? Maybe it is a misclick. But second of all, the check raise he did before was trash.
Yeah. I'm talking shit.
You are talking shit. I don't hate the 4-bet if you think, especially misclick equity, like that's actually a thing, because if you think it's a misclick, like there was a spot where Nick Easty, he's on. Did you see it? He opens to 32 big blinds, blind versus blind.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Gets jammed on him and then folds. If I'm in the big blind shoes there against somebody that I know, fucking 10 jack suited, you're folding.
It's a bit of a gross spot, like SPR. Like I'm not calling small blind. It's got to be a 3-bet.
I think I'm just calling. I think we can just kind of use these dynamics as a spot where we call because we have by the looks of things, a tight, fun player in the big blind.
Yeah, that's true.
Believe me, I'm all for not really having, flattened strategies out the small blind in general, but I think just in some circumstances where we don't really want a 3-bet, because we're first of all, we're not playing a full stack. Second of all, we're going to be out of position. It gets a bit dicey with 10 jack suited.
Yeah.
But I just think I really want to VPip with this. And even though we're in the small blind and obviously have a positional disadvantage, I just think, just look at it, Chris. Yeah, I've seen you fold 6, 7 of hearts and 10 jack of clubs. I don't know what to say. I don't know what's happened to you.
I feel exactly the same in this hand. Like my brain is like 10 jack suited. I want to play, but it's also like don't call the small blind ever because that's super sketchy. But then Like if this guy had 100 big blinds, I'd 3-bet here and be happy about
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. And I get you. I get your logic, and it's fine because I see this spot and I'm not thrilled. You know, I'm like, ah, shit, what do I do? I really don't want to fold. I
Yeah,
don't want to
exactly.
three bet. You know, I don't want to call. I get you, but you know, just with fun players, we want to play pots with fun players. Like, I'm not even that bothered about the positional disadvantage. You know, I'd just rather just play some flops with these guys, especially if he's, you know, opening wide under the gun and stuff. Like, you know, we can have just reasonable equity. I just think we just want to play pots here. Again, if we've got a solid reg in the big or he's a solid reg under the gun, which he won't be because we'd probably be three betting anyway, I'm okay with it. But so I get your logic, but it seems weird to me that you'd fold this, but then you'd check call bottom pair, the 4-3 suited with the backdoor flush draw. Because they're,
Yeah,
even though
true.
there's different spots, they're similar in terms of like how awkward they are. Do you know what I mean? That we're out of
Yeah.
position and whatever, but we've not even seen a flop here. Just the fact that you'll call three big blinds with bottom pair kind of hoping to hit, whereas you're not even calling 1.5 with 10 jack suited to see a flop, you know, getting a similar price. We're getting 3-1 here, you know? So,
Yeah, I suppose like spots are a little different in the sense that like I've already V-pipped with the 3-4 and I'm
and
like
the
I've
fact
made
that
a
you
pair.
fucking call this, I knew you were going to do this as well. Look, just look at the difference in this. This is just tilting. You fucking calling a gut shot with a player left to
Here we go.
act on a 2-spade board, right? So you've got 3 clean outs, which aren't even the fucking nuts, by the way. That obviously is very unlikely somebody's going to have 5-3, 6-3. But so we've got 3 clean outs to not even the nuts, and a player left to act. We're calling 6 big blinds, right? But then 10 jack suited, we're like, nah, let's not even see a flop with that for fucking 1.5 big blinds.
See your point.
I don't hate the fold, right? Like I'm not saying it's a bad fold. Like I'm actually okay with the fold. I'm not fucking okay with this call. I'm not okay with this call in relation to that fold is what I'm not okay with, Chris. God damn it, Chris. I thought you were better
You're
than
like
this. Like
just a
just
pure offense to connectors.
I think that everyone just struggles multi-way because it, you know, people will pick solvers and pick ranges and stuff like that, and they just think, okay, yeah, we'll defend on this, we'll do this. They might plug it into a solver, but then adding a third player completely changes the dynamic, completely changes your equity, and completely changes how you need to play the hand. We are not closing the action here, so we call sometimes and we don't even get to see the turn. When we do, we're after 3 outs. No, this is. It doesn't look that bad because we're getting, you know, we're getting 3-1 and he could have a lot of nonsense and stuff, but it really is bad. If the 8 was a heart, I wouldn't mind a check raise. I would much prefer a check raise. This really is just bad multi-way. I think.
Yeah, seeing this like retrospectively as well, like I have no defense for this. Like I hate
Okay,
it as well.
good. So yeah, the 10 jack suited, I think we just want to play pots with these fun players. I really do. But I mean, now we just bluff. Just bluff this river. Again, it's shit in terms of blockers and unblockers, but we're just so low down in our range, and it's like, what do we really have? I don't think we need to overbet because of what we're actually trying to attack here.
See, here's my thing. Like, I was not sure what I was trying to attack here, so I was just trying to use like often if I get in a spot where I'm like I should bluff here, but I don't know what I'm targeting, I just overbet. It's like a bit of a get out of jail free card.
Fuck Virgin Media. Do you know, I've got Virgin Media, and it's been very, very solid recently. Right.
You know, when me and my housemates moved into this house, I'm not the one handling the internet. I was like, I've got one condition: don't get Virgin Media. A week later, my mate's like, got a great deal with Virgin Media.
To be
I was like,
fair, the only reason I have Virgin Media, I was with PlusNet. PlusNet are the fucking absolute G's. The only problem I couldn't get PlusNet here because it was a really shit speed. They didn't have fiber here, and so they even said to me like, yeah, it's not even worth getting it there because it's just trash speeds. And I was like, I need really good speeds. We just don't have it because a lot of the companies like, so Virgin has the super fast one here. PlusNet don't bother because there's no point having that competition. They'll just get it in an area where Virgin Media don't have it, sort of thing. So that's the sorts of Virgin Media. Touch wood, it's been okay for me. Anyway, so the fact that it's not fold kind of shows in a way, like, because what you're trying to target here, like, by overbetting, you'd be targeting really strong hands. Like, think about it, 3/4 does the same thing as an overbet here. Like, he may call like a random queen if he's got it anyway, right? To an overbet or to like 2/3. Maybe you could get that to fold, but he can have a lot of like 6s, 7s, 8x, stuff like that. You know, if he's got a flush, he's going to call anyway. So I don't think we need to target like... I guess it's okay because we might want to bet for value for that, but we also might want smaller, you know, value bets with like 2 pairs, something like 8-9 suited or something, which is a credible hand. So we don't necessarily always want to just blast because of what we're targeting. So I don't think that overbetting really makes that much sense, because I don't think we're getting called enough with flushes, and I don't think we get, that much to fold from an overbet in comparison to just a large bet, like a 2/3 bet. So I think overbetting is very unnecessary. But at least you bluffed. I think that even though it's a trash hand in terms of blockers and unblockers, because we've got there with ace-3.
We have to bluff, right?
I would say so, yeah. But we had to fold the flop, so.
Will this table start working? Apparently not.
A7, pretty easy open. This is a board I think I want to just check on. So on this kind of board, I'm probably using bigger sizes. I think I'm just going to like bet range on boards like King Deuce 3, like King 9 Deuce. I think on a wet board like this, I'm going to check a lot more because of, the amount you can connect with the board, and use bigger sizings when I bet, and I'm just never betting this hand for a big size. So. And I don't even like the combo as well, because we block a lot of the kind of shit we want him to have that just insta folds. Hands like 7-8 suited, or like, ace-5 of clubs, stuff like that. There's just, if you actually use your blockers and look at what you would actually block here and look at the board, you just don't block any. The best hand that you could block here is like ace-jack offsuit. So I really don't like this hand to do anything. I think this is just one of them boards. Even though it's obviously better for us, I think, I'm just fine. Just check folding. Checking about the turn, and then probably
just giving up. I think I just like 33% at a really high frequency. Button versus big blind. So on the right, cut off limp, small blind, min raised.
Yep, and I like the 3-bet. I think this is really good, because first of all, we get folds a lot, because this is just basically dead money. But not only that, it's the fact that we're in position against him, so we knock out the player we're out of position against, and we play in position against the other guy. So I think 3-betting's actually better than calling here, because if we call, we're out of position, and he's always going to call. So I like it.
We take this so often as well. Like when this guy min raises out of position versus a limp, like he's not strong.
Yeah, I would agree to an extent. So this board, again, from a theory point of view, I guess that we don't want to be betting all that much. We want to have a reasonable amount of checks, so I'll be picking a large size in. I like this size in against this stack. If he had a full stack, I'd be going bigger here. Again, the kind of hand where we unblock all the flush draws, we unblock all of the pairs, sets, and 2-pairs. But because he's not got a full stack, we don't want to go too big, so I think that about half pot is fine. I think that's fine. We could maybe even just make argument for going bigger, just because, he's going to be quite inelastic. If he has queen, if he has like ace-10 plus, he's probably always calling, even versus 3/4. If he has 7s, 6s, 8s, he's always going to be folding, even versus 3/4. So I think you could maybe go even bigger.
I mean, like this size against his like stack on the turn, it's just over like 1 SPR. So like if we bet 70%, he's probably like jam or folding anyway.
Yeah, I get it. I think it's fine, but because they're inelastic to that, because me, I always like to keep the SPR. If we don't want it to get too small, before the turn, for example. But I just think because fun players are inelastic, we might as well just get a few extra big blinds in the middle on the flop. Just because if a turn comes where he's going to fold on the turn, we at least get that extra value on the flop, sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? It's not like we're always going to be able to get the rest in on the turn anyway. So we might as well, get a few extra big blinds, which will, it will be a lot in the long run, in those spots if they're calling 2 big blinds every time,
I do think about this is like I think my win rate for like 100,000 hands at 25, and I know that's not a huge sample or anything, was like 4 bigs per 100. It's like 4 big blinds per 100 hands. That's such a small edge. Like, that seems insane.
Yeah, but over time, you do like fucking punting, don't you?
Love punting. Look at this. We got blockers. We block King Jack, 10 Jack. We got backdoor. The flop's so dry. Wide.
I love it with King Jack, with King 10 suited of the 3 suits that are there. I love it. I say this in general, no, but against a lot of your opponents, yes, because if they're c-betting a lot, especially, there's a lot of opponents, even at 200, that will just snap c-bet any board. Like, they'll have like 95% c-bet over like hundreds and hundreds of hands. And against those guys, yes, because if they see bet in their entire range, honestly, the fun thing is as well, it wouldn't surprise me if he checks back some Jack X or he bets smaller. Like, I can't imagine a world where he ever bets half pot. And I know that sounds daft, and I always say don't make these assumptions. But there was a hand the other day where a guy raised pocket nines on the button, and he had the flop comes 9-4 deuce, and he bets like less than a quarter pot with pocket nines on a 9-4 deuce. And I had
They
pocket
do like
fours.
little habits, don't they?
And on the river, like I checked raise and he jams, and I was like, I knew he had pocket nine, and I'm there clicking the call button anyway. But I'm like, I knew he had fucking nines on the flop because he bet so small. And that's the thing. If
I
somebody
think I
has
saw that
something
on screen.
like, even though if they're gonna range bet this board, like let's say for half pot, which I wouldn't even think is terrible, they just probably won't do it a lot with like Jack X. So when somebody, this to me looks honestly so fucking weak. I'd be a bit worried about maybe hands like aces or queens or like pocket nines. But I don't hate this for that reason. But from a theory point of view, we just want to have a bit more. Even 9-10 of diamonds is fine because we at least wrap around, you know, or like queen 10 of diamonds where we wrap around the jack of diamonds kind of thing. But so a bit.
Like spots like this, like big blind versus button, I think pool or oversea betting just like so much. I've been messing around with like check raising, and I think at the start I was like, oh, this combo makes sense and this combo makes sense, and I've got loads of equity. But then like even the non-equity rich bluffs, I find just like generate so many folds on the flop. It's doesn't seem like a reasonable thing to do, but I think they just like see bet fold so much that it works.
Okay.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah. This eights, I think we could have bet on the flop. As played, I think we want to bet the river for value. I think that checking three streets is a mistake with eights. Our hand, relatively speaking, is extremely strong here. I think you're missing out on value by ace highs, 7x, 4x, pocket fives. I prefer betting the flop because it just needs protection. I don't hate checking because we want to check a lot out of position. Turn check's fine. We can't really get called by that much worse. But by the river, I just think I always want to bet this hand for value. This is like actually a strong hand for value. I think ace highs can call in his position. Jack X. Jack X is unlikely. Queen X is unlikely. 7x and 4x are very possible. I think you've potentially missed out on value.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's good.
We didn't get to. I'd also just be seeing what he had as well. Just, you know, I know you normally
I think
do,
maybe
but
I've got like two monitors. I always like bring it up on the other one and take notes.
fair enough.
I think maybe I forgot to just like slide it over.
Probably won't focus. Where are you, Chris?
Yeah. 2 tables of poker and I'm recording and trying not to punt. Like it's too much.
Trying not to punt, he says, calling a fucking 1.7x jam with king high because he thought the guy was bluffing.
You should see the things I do when I'm not recording. It's
That's what worries me, Chris. Honestly, that is what worries me.
I picked that one specifically for that punt. That's one of the biggest punt I've had in a while.
You know it's a punt then.
Yeah.
So just don't do it. Just don't punt.
It's like when you're in the moment though, and you're just like, oh, we could maybe.
I get you. So just anything that I don't mention, by the way, for anyone watching the video, like Queen 10 in the cutoff, is just going to be standard. I'll only, I won't talk about the, Queen 10 is an open. That is, Queen 10 is basically the bottom of range from cutoff, but I'm only going to mention something if Chris gets out of line or folds something I don't think he should be folding, or doesn't open something that I think he could be opening. So this kind of board on the left, I'm okay with the big size, a board that we're going to be checking a reasonable amount on, quite a lot against a big blind. This is kind of a sucky board. Having a 6 is kind of nice. I don't mind betting this board, and I want to pick a larger size. So I think that's okay. I'd just be wary about your opponents when you're doing this. If you're against aggressive players, I'm very happy just checking back and just trying to realize my equity in those spots, because you're going to get check raised by an awful lot, and we cannot continue with a6. I know you like that this guy's a whale, but ace-9 off is not a good hand, Chris. No, absolutely fucking not, Christopher. How dare you fold 10 jack suited to a fucking min raise in the small blind?
The one reason is this guy's a whale. That's it.
I know that, but the other guy was a fun player and nah, man. Look, even his stats don't. He might be a whale, but look at those stats. They seem okay. 21, 19, 8.
Yeah, I think it's like that note at the bottom, 3-bet 4-5 off, small blind versus hijack.
Oh, congratulations! You probably just tilted once and 3-bet 4-5 offsuit. Like, oh my god, Chris, ace-9
No,
off in the
it's
small
one.
blind. After all what you were saying before about like, oh, I don't want to call in the small blind, and you go and do this.
Like here, I just wanted to VPip against this guy, and I was like, if he's folding to 3-bets, only 25%,
He's not whaley
four
enough.
betting 50%.
If he had 80% VPip over 193 hands, I'd allow it. But the fact that you fold 10 jack suited to a min raise, think about how bad ace-9 is in terms of playability.
It's terrible.
Like, I'm actually gonna fucking skip away from it. I don't even give a shit what you did because calling was so bad that there's no excuse for doing anything.
Yeah.
Post flop, I don't care what you did. Bell end. Ace-8, don't do anything here. Okay, fold. I like the c-bet on this board. I think it's just so dry and disconnected. He's just gonna have to fold a lot. Yeah, I'm probably just c-betting most of my range here. We just also have so many good hands on this board as well. A lot of top pairs. We have sets. We have, you know, all the overpairs. So, yeah, big fan of just small c-betting. And we can defend with, we'd have to defend quite wide. Like, any, like, backdoor nut flush ace, like ace-8 suited, we probably have to defend because of what they should be check raising. But, yeah, obviously. What are you doing? Oh, 3-bet. Sorry, I thought you flattered. Even this is fucking way too loose in these positions, by the way. So let's actually get ranges up that I've got. So 3-bet, so middle position versus under the gun. Fucking hell, Chris. I think maybe it's not too loose, actually. Yeah, it's just, it always uses this one. And then it's ace-10 suited plus. I think this is too loose.
Let's see what mine says.
There's no way you'll say it's okay. Don't lie to me.
I'm trying to find it.
It's not okay.
Please say it's okay. Please say it's okay. Just gambling on what the ranges allow me to do.
It's better than calling, at least. What's yellow tag?
Oh, that's just like I've got a note on. It does that on its own.
See, anytime I do anything loose when I play, I always get punished for it by like a 4-bet or like a 3-bet when I've opened wide, or like the flop just comes shit and I get stacked. You, on the other hand, ace-9 4.
My ranges do specifically say ace-9 suited in this position is a 3-bet or a fold, and it's about 30% 3-bet. So I'll take that W.
Just don't do it, kids. It's not going to be a huge winning play. I don't think it's terrible, but I think we should be relatively tight in those positions.
Yeah, like I don't do it a lot, but then we do have to have bluffs versus under the gun, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Use ace-5 suited, but I mean, a lot of it are effectively bluffs because you're gonna want to 3-bet king-queen suited, king-jack suited, stuff like that. Like, I think they're just better, but I think it's okay. Lovely spot with kings here. This is like the dream spot.
Beautiful.
I think a little bit big. The reason why is I like to have bluffs here. The fun part here, if this guy's a reg, the fun part about being in position here is that when you 4-bet, he literally cannot do shit. Unlike, he can pretty much only jam because calling's really bad because he's either A, always going to go 3-way, or he could even just jam with the amount that's in the pot. So he really can't do anything. He's just literally caged in versus your 4-bet. So I think it's a good spot to 4-bet. For that reason, I think we can just 4-bet a hell of a lot smaller and then basically target this guy. So like literally 20.
Yeah, I think I just want to worry bigger just because of the cold call.
Yeah, I get it. But because, again, that's only going to be if this guy's a reg. If he's a fish, I'm probably going to go bigger. But you could literally just go 25 big blinds here and just put this guy in an absolute spot. And then you're going to go heads up against this guy who doesn't really have a particularly strong range. So I think we can go a little bit smaller. But I get your logic there. But it just puts that guy in a spot. So, and then we can do that with bluffs and still put him in a spot and not have to risk as much. Because we're probably never just bluffing it to this size, right? Like, if we've got ace-queen off, we really don't want to make it 31 bigs when there's this much in the pot because, you know, he's going to have... So let's actually work it out. It'll be 22 bigs, so that'll be 71. And then it'll be another 76 to call. So 76 times 2. 7, 14, 21. We'll be getting like 3 to 1. I don't know. That's maths for insane. I can't be asked doing it. I'll probably just fuck that up. But we'd be getting a sick price. And so ace-queen would actually be close to a call, given the equity we'd have against his range. So we wouldn't want to make it too big. when we're bluffing, so we don't want to make it too big with value. But I get your
I think
point
this
anyway.
spot,
We do generally want to make it bigger with the cold call, but because we're in position, we can just make it smaller and put them both in just really grim spots. Are you going to check raise?
maybe.
We could have 3-bet the king queen suited pre. I don't hate it against things. Yes, finally you get called. I was really fucking hoping that you got called here. So because it's not a good check raise with this hand. It's a really bad check raise given like the equity that we have. Ace 10 of spades is much better. Ace 10 with the ace of hearts, infinity times better. This really isn't good. So I was kind of hoping that you'd get fucking caught out because all you do is this. And I thought, well, I can't have a go in for it if it works every single fucking time. And I'm so glad that it works. And now just give up on this turn card.
We didn't come all the way
Punt.
to the computer to check raise.
Absolute
Nothing.
punt. He has so many fucking flushes and we block none of them. If we have the... God damn it. Why does it always fucking work, Chris? So tilted. If we have the 10 of hearts, you always do this with the worst combos ever. And that's what annoys me. Fours, I didn't hate the most, but if we have the 4 of spades, it's infinitely better. Having the 10 of hearts here is actually ridiculously valuable. We block ace 10 suited, king 10 suited, queen 10 suited, jack 10 suited, 10 8 suited, 10 7 suited if he's a fun player. So we literally take out loads of flushes, and then we actually have equity against a 9. If he has like ace 9 here, if we have ace 10 with the 10 of hearts, we have equity against it. Think about how much better it is. Punt of a bet. Honestly, I think I keep saying that you'd need to not do this, but it just works every fucking time, and that's probably why your red line's shooting through the roof.
That's
But
like why I'm doing it. Like this is what I was saying earlier when I started like first doing it with good combos, and now I just do it with trash all the time because it just works so often. Like these guys do just like stab the flop, and then you raise, and a lot of the time they'll fold. Sometimes they'll call because like I've stabbed and I've got 7s, double barrel, and they just fold so often.
just do it.
Like it's ridiculous how much that works at 25 and out.
Just do it with the 10 of hearts, man. Just I'll be okay.
Theoretically.
Ace 3 suited. We're probably always V-pipping. Do you ever thought about this? Or?
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking about when I was checking what he'd 3-bet. It's like 3-bet off. Oh, now we can call.
Okay, I don't hate either. I don't mind going for a bet on this flop. I'm probably just using a small size. I guess I don't hate checking either.
Yeah, it's weird when they like 3-bet and then snap check our position like
on such a good board.
Really c-bet so many of your 3-bets.
I think you can just c-bet Ranger because they have fucking huge advantage. So I get your point.
Yeah, exactly.
Here. I don't mind betting really small and then actually continue into a raise. On the turn, again, I don't mind betting small. I don't mind betting about half pot on this turn. Basically, all we're trying to target now is ace, queen, ace, king. Like, he's never going to fold a pair, so I don't think we need to go that big from what we're trying to target as bluffs, and we want to keep hands in when we have, you know, value, so probably going about half pot, but I don't think this is terrible. I think it's fine. Don't mind the complete here with the queen deuce suited. Seeing a flop, getting a very, very good price. I tag that guy as a nit as well. The fact that he just checks and then check folds is like really strange. It's just such a good board for him where you just got to fold a lot.
I'd show you what he had.
Huh?
I mean, usually I'd bring that in and show you. Oh, wait, no, he folded,
He folded.
Oh, roundabout.
Ace King going for the 3-bet here. I don't even hate... I'd probably go a little bit bigger just because we're out of position. And in these positions versus the early positions, we can go for a bigger size. And plus, we're a little bit deeper. Honestly, I don't hate flatting this sometimes. I think it's okay to flat sometimes because Ace King offsuit really not that playable of a hand out of position. So there's just so many spots that you check raising. I honestly don't know what to do on this board. I think check folding's better than check calling.
Yeah, my thinking here was that I've still got like equity against his 10s and jacks and stuff like that.
I prefer betting. Check this river. I think we just have like buckets of showdown. I don't think he's gonna have a flush a lot.
so much straighter. Like, what do we fold out here as well? Like, is he folding tens, jacks?
Literally, you're trying to specifically target tens and jacks that might call. So like, if you think you can definitely, he always folds tens and jacks, by all means. But
Like, this is such a good river to bluff catch tens and jacks.
what, for him to bluff catch?
Yeah, like I feel like I'm showing up with so much ace high here.
I don't really know. I think that like looking over a spot on Nick's thing with Ben, I think that we want to have like a smaller size in and maybe an overbet size in. And I think that this is a kind of spot where I think an overbet is infinitely better than this size. Because this size, you're specifically trying to target tens and jacks. And I don't think tens and jacks folds, which means your bluff is absolutely AIDS because you get nothing to fold. You do get ace highs to fold, possibly. But
yeah, like, but
I think if we're gonna bluff, then just go for an overbet.
like, it'd be nice to have a spade at least.
I don't think it's that relevant. It's very unlikely he's gonna have a flush. I don't know.
Hopefully, I get rewarded for this though.
You always fucking do, Chris. All your bad plays get rewarded, apparently. Apart from that, even the king queen suited, you won half the pot. You drilled it on the first run out.
I just think being overly aggressive against these guys just works too much.
I agree that it will work, but you do have to be careful. Now that you've moved up to 50 as well, like I said, the hardest jump for me was 25 to 50. You're going to get caught out. You know, people are going to... It's probably worth me putting this on YouTube so for everyone to see what you're doing, but I think you're going to get caught out at some points. But
I do get occasionally recognized. People are like, oh, you're that guy from the Weasel stream.
Oh, yes, we're famous now, Chris.
25 Zoom celebrity.
So yeah, overall, okay. Pre-flop seems okay. No major mistakes there. You know, it's just going to be a difference in ranges. Maybe a little bit loose in some scenarios. In a way, it's good to see, like, that ace-9 call that you did pre was trash, but it's good to see that you're trying to exploit at least. I think that that's okay, but the fact that you said that you don't want any calls in the small blind and you fold the jack-10 suited because of that, and then you call the ace-9 was just like, what the fuck is that?
I feel like folding suited connectors pre-flop is like personally insulting you.
It literally is. That 6-7 suited. Like, I can't wait till we get off the recording because you're getting shouted at again, Chris. I think that generally most ranges are going to say that that's okay to VPIP anyway. So I think that we can VPIP there. I get your point that you probably looked at a sample, but your sample's not going to be big enough. Variance is going to be the biggest factor when you look at specific hands. You know, because suited connectors aren't the highest EV of hands anyway. You know, it's not like it's aces where if you look at a sample of aces, it's pretty much always going to be winning unless you run really, really fucking badly. But I still think you can play them. And that king queen suited really was a punt. Just the fact that, like, it's just, you've still got a bit of that weird logic in you where you're like, oh, I think he's bluffing. And you're not really wanting to, you're kind of going away from theory. It's almost like you just don't want to fold and you're married to the hand and you're like, oh, I'll just say that I think he's bluffing. And it's like, Chris, you've got fucking king high, man. He was bluffing, and you had 25% against his bluff.
At least it was just like the one giant punt. Like a year ago, that would have been about 6 giant punts.
Agree. It's 30 minutes of footage. Like, if you, like, you know, you could play within a week and do that fucking 10 to 15 times. And that I promise you, at these stakes, when I first started playing 15L years ago on PKR, when I first moved to cash, I was 1k down overall at that stake in the course of about a year. I was 20 buy-ins below EV. I think my EV was about 0. But I'd come from absolutely hammering tournaments, kicking the shit out of everyone in low stakes tournaments, to playing low stakes cash against fish, and I was basically break even at EV or losing because I was running badly. But and I couldn't work out why, but it was because there was so many spots where I'd lose a buy-in in a punt like that, where I'd make a really bad bluff because I just couldn't be arsed, or I'd make a really bad call down because I just didn't want to believe them. And those add up so much, it's ridiculous. At 50NL and above, you don't have room to be making horrible mistakes that cost you a buy-in. A buy-in is a lot at these stakes. Like you said before, you were saying before, the 4BB over 100, it seems like a small win rate. Right? And it is.
A small edge.
Exactly. So imagine just punting, like, even once a week. Like, how much of your edge you're giving up by just making, like, silly mistakes because you just don't want to fold.
definitely something like I'm working on, like 100%. Slowly improving it, not ridiculously punning.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
I mean, you know, some of the check raises I don't like, but I do think it works a lot at 25. Just be a bit more selective when you're doing it.
Yeah, I think just
At
like my
these
logic
stakes.
with that is that I'd rather overdo it than underdo it. Like I'd rather be super aggressive and get more folds than I deserve,
You'd rather
or
be
get
a
called
red
down.
line warrior, is what you're saying. That you want your red line to go
Yeah,
up.
exactly.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, it's like being passive.
Yeah. But I don't think you've got, you know, too many major leaks. It's not like when we first looked at your play and there wasn't enough bluffing and stuff like that. So I think
I
you'll
think
beat 50. Just be careful of your shots and just make sure that you are confident when you're playing. I think that's going to be a big factor. If you're not confident, drop down. There's no shame in dropping down stakes. Like, you know,
yeah, it's kind of what I'm doing.
yeah. So just yeah, maybe just play a bit more at 25 and then see how you feel and move up again and
Because
start
like,
smashing it.
the 25 graph does look really nice.
And
Like I know I'm beating.
the fact that you've come a long way in a short amount of time, like in a year, you've come from basically 2 NL to basically nearly 50 NL in the space of 12 months. So that is like, you know, you could get to. There was a guy in the stream the other day that was like, "How come you're only playing 200 NL after 12 years? I'm playing 200 NL, you know, and like in one year
Right.
you've gone from 2 to 50. So there's definitely there's no rush to get any further. Just you know, you've played well. You've built up your role. You've not punted your role. More importantly, that's what I used to do. Is to get drunk and fucking gamble. At least you've not done that, and you've sat down pissed at like 500 Zoom or something, and just thought, right, let's have it. So.
Well, I definitely used to, but then like lockdown hit, and I was like, right, like I'm only working 3 days a week. Money's tight. I've got like, I want to play poker. I've got bankroll manage, even if I've just got like the cash for 2 now. So
Fair enough.
more out of necessity than anything else.
Yeah. And I think that'll do it, unless you've got anything else to say.
Further comments?
Happy days.
Thank you. Always very useful.
Yeah, no, I enjoy doing this anyway. And I thought if I do this one where it's gone on a bit longer than I wanted, but I knew this would fucking happen anyway, I might do a bit of editing on it, but I just basically wanted to just whack it up on YouTube so I could just have a video I didn't need to edit, so I can just whack it on when I can't be bothered editing one. But it's been a pleasure having you on, so thank you. We will do another 50 Zoom in the future on a Monday if you're up for that, like I normally
That's
do.
good to me. Yeah.
But I'm booked up until pretty much the end of May anyway. So many people have been wanting to send them. So, but yeah, that's gonna do it for me and Chris. Thanks for watching on YouTube. If you've watched, if I put this video up, I don't know if I'm gonna. And yeah, it's been a pleasure, guys. I'll see you in the next one.